Okay, all right, principle-based private lesson. Okay, so let's start with just a couple timeless principles, and this seems obvious now, but it's really come to me in the last 2 years. Here, Nick, let me use you. Pin and move. Pin and move, and I kind of go over this in like principles of passing, but for close guard. Like the, what are we doing? We're pinning the hips, right? Pinning the hips so we can move our relative position. Pin and move, everything, otherwise it's just move and move. This has got to be like really trusting your weight here, coming under, pin and move. Another alternative is like pin. I developed this couple. Rick got me into this one. Pinning him under, in between the legs. Now I can move. Now I can start to separate. Or the stack from within the guard. I'm into doing this. So I instantly create a little bit of pressure and just nice and wide, start rocking up. If they don't open, I just hang out here until maybe it'll open, maybe it won't. Boom. Then a little bit of knee pressure, scooping back to the shoulder and passing. So the idea of pinning and moving, it never really occurred to me before, but it's exactly what we do to increase the distance in our relative positions. Yeah. So what do you think?
Can I try that?
Yeah, absolutely. Any of those.
I feel like I saw that in your principles of passing video, and my question was sort of, once we were done, how does that pin continue? So if we get the arm in and we break the...
Yeah, and you might want to get, exactly with that knee pressure.
Yeah. Then from here, this is where I start to feel like I'm losing that pin potential.
Why are you getting your hand out of the way?
I'm taking my hand out of the
way. Yeah. No. Keep connected to the earth.
And then maybe transfer the pin pressure through my hip.
You can. You don't have to turn. You don't have to turn that much. Mr. Harris is quite a stickler these days on minimal. So I'm here. Okay. I reach back. Hand forward, not really shuffling to the side, and using your knee to push that past. So I hardly have to move at all, Yeah, but you stay rooted, so the pin continues. Yeah, just one back to the shoulder. Yeah, and put it right next to it. Yep. That's totally fine. You can use your knee a little bit more or not. But being able to sprawl into that and just keep that rootedness. Yeah. Do you want to try a little bit of that?
Try that one, Brett.
Sure.
Thanks, Nick. Good friend. Knees together?
Yeah, just knees together. It will happen eventually. If he can't move, he'll eventually go. Yep, to the shoulder. Yes. Nice. Drop it.
Oops.
That's it. Yeah. Hit it. Go ahead and do it. I'm going to make it with you.
Absolutely. It's only fair.
Are you taking any grip here, or just?
No, I'm crossing so that as I extend, I have a little bit of pressure behind. Yeah, so really, yes, right there. Yeah. So you're like cross braced. So, and yeah, more knees together. Good. That ideally that's what will happen, but it's not always. Good. And then try to not. I mean, you can bring the arm across, you can do thumb in, you can do all that, but just put the hand next to the head. So you stay, that's correct. Boom, pinch it, reach one left arm back or left arm back. Boom, to the shoulder. Yeah, and then just keep that. Good.
Show what you're doing with your knee.
Yeah, so one final time here.
It's like a brutal squeeze.
Yeah, I mean, if you can, I tried doing this with Henner, and he just bopped my arms right off. But if you can get it early, we're in. Okay, I'm reaching back, just straightening right here. Then you can use your knee to push that by a little bit.
Look
You
how
can-
far
you can-
Roy's head is past the opponent.
Right. You can sprawl it out, but I don't feel like that. I mean, it's fine, but you can also use your knee then to push that to your chest, and then you're still connected. So yeah, pinning them so they can't shuffle back, you know, and keep their distance with usable movement. Keep rooted. It can go there, it can go right there too. Yeah. Yeah, use your knee. Yes, right there.
I feel like when I'm using my knee, I guess I'm transferring the pin through the knee.
Yeah, you can do that, or just transfer it to your sprawl. So you get your sprawl going. Now go to your sprawl. Yeah. And then sometimes you can just use the knee to shift it over a few inches so your chest can take over.
Okay.
So that's one, you know, and that's really what we're doing with whether it's like you're back, like even if you're here and you stomp, what are we doing? We're pinning so that the rest of our body can move, and then we bring that around. So you got to have the pin and move, and so as soon as you start like bring that into the forefront of your mind, then the security of the pin becomes more important. It's not just grabbing. It's like, no, I'm gonna put all my weight through my palm. I'm gonna hang out here, you know, and then do whatever I need to do. But he's not moving because he's pinned. And I don't feel like that's emphasized enough. You keep them in position. You're not trying to tap them. You're just trying to keep them there so that you can move and improve your position.
Are there any other situations beyond guard passing where that remains constant?
Oh, I mean, yeah, I mean, sure, like an arm out from the guard or something. You know, you're pinning it. You're pinning that position so that we can continue to move up and around. I mean, basically everything, every position is a pin and move, especially with the legs. You just whether we're pinning the far one, or we're in some kind of like inside saddle, you know, we're pinning the femur, which blocks the hip, which allows so pin and move, and now I have more options for moving things around. Danner's super into this toe control, like bringing this through so that you're able to switch it around. I think it's quite good. So pin and move, pin the legs, you can move around, you know, lock them in position. Immobilization, osaikomi, you know, is kind of the root of every offensive technique. Sometimes you can catch them moving and then you blend with it, but you know, I think once you really get into pinning them, it limits their offense, and then you can just relax a little more. Okay, let's go into the next principle. So, cutting under your center of gravity, the timeless principle, applicable in like every sweep, but especially like from like put some weight on my throat here. We're coming up, and you know, I can bring him over with my legs, and so my center cuts, but stack me on my head. Coming under, out into it. Also, if you're gonna go into like, if you wanna go into like some kind of like, you know, rolling arm lock or a juji, gatame, you know, I've seen guys like pull guard and they go immediately into it. So you're cutting that center of gravity underneath them. Same as any judo throw. It's always cutting under. Now I have to really get low, you know, but it's stepping back and through. cutting the center under. Let me give one more example here. Just the scoot, please. Just the scoot of the butterfly. You know, everyone, a lot of people can lift here, but the scoot of the lines of where our hips are. So I feel like scooping, cutting your center under theirs is timeless.
I think sometimes we describe that as like a hip shovel, where we'll like scoop our hip underneath. Is that?
Oh
Is that the concept that you're?
Dude, for sure, yeah. Especially in, you know, whatever it happens to be, when you're in a guard like this, you know, scooping that underneath. You can live there. Some guys totally live in that, you know, getting close to the border. A lot of beginners, I mean, you have to cross this line, and they start from out here, and they try to do it through movement or explosiveness. But the experts go right up to the line, hang out here, then it's easy to cross over. You know, so that's really the center of gravity.
And your words for that were cutting under. Is that?
Yeah, I feel like cutting underneath the person, getting my hips just past their center of gravity so that they can become heavy and I'm leading them into a roll. Whether that's a throw or a sweep or whatever. Or I really feel like with the flying arm lock, it's so much better if you can cut underneath the person. And that escape route is really important, especially for smaller people to know.
Yeah, it keeps the other person from landing on you.
Yeah. So
makes sense.
always willing to like cut underneath that and know that route is there. It's not that revolutionary in terms of like how it works, but just having that awareness that you always want to cut under as soon as they start.
With something like that, a challenge I see quite often is people figuring out when to make that cut. Sometimes they'll wait a little bit late to where the opportunity to slide underneath is sort of shut off because of the position. Do you have any like signals you look for in the situation that do you try to cut under early because it's such a strong principle, or do you reserve that for like a?
You need the experience so that when you feel the pressure mounting, you use it. Perfect example is cutting under for the with a triangle choke. When the guy goes to stack you, you cut under as he's stacking. As he's building, you're already reaching. So when they try to crowd you out in the arm lock, you're already searching for that leg. So you need the experience and sensitivity of like, okay, he's putting weight on me. It's a free ride. But once you have to be caught there a little bit, understand the frustration. That's the motivation to learn. As soon as I feel that coming on, we gotta cut it. You guys want to play around with it?
I want to try that triangle.
Yeah, totally. Control it. As soon as, just try, do, kind of straight arm. Yeah. Try to keep the triangle, super small detail, keep the triangle, and then just slide your leg into the position. Yeah, and you can typically like run me up this way with both. Yeah. Well, keep the triangle, and then just because he might still come up here, and then just slide it.
Yes, sir.
Just don't give him too much of an opening during the transition.
Sure.
Really scrape that.
I'm jumping a little prematurely.
No, that looked good. That looked good. This time, don't put the foot on the hip. Try to just ride his momentum into that. Ooh. Awesome.
You give it a shot?
Sure. Push it in. Nice. Very good. Excellent.
Get the off the waist.
That's one that I've always, like from blue belt requirements.
Yeah.
The spin under with the stack.
Yes.
That's one that I've frequently struggled with, being taller and older and getting folded in half in that position.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that relates to your question of when to cut under, but that felt better than it had. Normally, I feel like I'm getting folded in half and crushed. And I don't know if it's because I'm just going early because I'm thinking about it right now.
No, that's a great question because there are specific things to do at different phases of it. And most of the time when you're doing actually, let's do armbar. The time for the spin under is when I can't be smashing you here because then you need to
This is
sweep
where
the
I'm like,
guy. Yeah, exactly. It has to be they're stacking you on your neck for you to,
Yes.
right? And
Okay.
it's difficult to bait that. They have to kind of want to, so with that,
That's an interesting detail. That's been.
yeah, it has to be on the neck. So if it's on the back,
So I'm going too early. If I feel like I keep feeling like I'm folded in half and stuck there,
yes.
it's because I'm going too early because I'm not stacked up to the neck quite yet.
Exactly. They need to help balance you on that pivot point. That is actually like right on that line.
Okay.
You know. Now, I'll show you a cool thing that here, Hardy. Let me use a cool thing with the arm lock that I found this out in a tournament. I was here and the guy puts his leg up and is stacking me. You know, and he feels pretty good here. So you need to jackhammer your leg out to the side. Like it's strong. I'm not able to turn under. I can't really sweep him that well. So you do this. And now go ahead and you can plant your hand, boom, and then we're into the arm lock. So try to keep a good base. Yeah, you have to like really, really, really kind of come into it, boom, and then we're in. Or you'll get the sweep. One of the two, but that jackhammer disrupts them, and they're going to have to catch. And then you have an arm lock. If they use the other arm, then you have a triangle. And if you don't, then you get the sweep.
Well, that's a great delineation because when I'm teaching the same stuff, like those, we'll play with that jackhammer idea and we'll play with that spin under idea. But there's a subtle, maybe the pressure's a little more on your hip, or we'll have people that will throw their base out wide versus up tall versus lean towards your head. And
Yeah,
the subtle
right.
difference makes all the difference.
Yeah, it really does. Just play with that a little bit. I think that's a nice distinction.
So it's in the moment when I'm getting stacked.
Yeah, let like stack him on his neck first. Yeah.
That one was easy now.
Right?
But it was always hard before.
Exactly. So,
But if I don't get to that point, you're saying.
yeah. He's still stacking you on your shoulders. No, but yes, yeah. That's very good. Less leg this way, more leg that way. It's like knee out to the side.
This way?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
All right. It feels really solid, but there's still an open angle available if you triangulate. So you can whip them. Brett, do you want to get in on that?
Yeah, I've been thinking about this a lot. It's if I'm setting up the arm bar, and maybe he's pressuring me a little bit, but I feel like until the only part of the mat that I feel contact with my back is my shoulder blades, then it's time to roll under. Right? But I feel like if I feel my hips, if you go down just a tiny bit more, there's no way I'm like what you're saying. This would be too early, so I'm gonna kick that out. Right?
Yes.
Maybe
and
look
then-
for the sweep.
Maybe go for the sweep. Exactly. Or you can also use both your knees. Let me use you for a second.
Yeah.
I really emphasize whether it's flower sweep right here, going sideways with the knee. A lot of people feel they're helping, but they're going down, right? But it's really using both knees. Can you use both knees at once and then tip them over? And then once you tip them over, I got this from Jean-Jacques Machado. Just a little hip under, just a little bit of a hip under. Okay, you're stacking me. I use my knees, and then scooch that hip under one more time, just so you don't create any distance there.
We'll hit from
Yeah. Come back. Really pull toward me with your knees. Even more sideways. Yes. Absolutely. Then you can kick out. It's and both knees together are powerful. You know, one's okay, but
Even when you're kicking out, you're still bringing your knees together. Is that correct? At the end of that?
yes, yeah, absolutely. Okay, good. Let's go to another principle, which I'm like from deep half. Here, Hardy, let me. So we're doing whatever to get into the deep half. We're here, and you know, a lot of people think deep half is like controlling this, like hugging this leg, but it's really like draping, like letting your hands come down, and then that connection with your shoulder.
It's really different.
Right, as opposed to this, we're just letting it slide down, kind of like a Huggy Bear arm bar or telephone arm lock, and so like the draping is just naturally I'm locked in, you know, and then we can do whatever. So once I saw that kind of naturalness of the draping of just like letting your body sag into a position where it naturally catches, I immediately thought of the Aikido Jiu Jitsu. No, actually, if you're on your knees and you like grab my gi. Like when I started, I was like, I'm gonna crush this hand, right? But then I noticed that the masters would just drape it to their body and then open, right? So they're draping it to their body. They're letting their, you know, they're like, here. Then they open their hip and go down into it, and then right? So just play around with that, like the sagging and connecting it to your body, then your body moves.
You want to try that deep half?
I want to try.
Try the
both.
wrist lock.
Yeah. I want to try both. It's awful, isn't it?
Yeah, that's good stuff. I like that.
Yeah.
Want to try it?
Good, and then just open it a little bit.
Yeah.
Right.
It was really strong.
Deep half? All right, try not to do that. So, cutting.
And be a little bit more proud with your chest. So good. You can have a little more wrap around with your fingers, so there's more palm. Oh, that's so much better. Now open that knee.
Great. Awesome. You know, it changes from, you know, pressure being up here to being over here. And yeah, it really rips me off my feet. You should feel this, or you should feel this. You guys should feel this too.
Draping.
Yeah.
Proud.
Yeah, that's.
Right.
So you're just
Yeah, right.
Draping.
Yeah, you're still a little tense. Let me just grab it again. Boom, elbow locked in, nice, and it's like heavy right there. Awesome.
That's gonna be bad.
Yeah. Because you can feel like that palm
Well,
pressure.
it's creating like a 90-degree. It's creating a stouter angle. Whereas if I come in and grip him, he resists. Like if I come in and start crushing the hand, then he straightens out.
Absolutely, right?
But if he's relaxing, then I just come in and create that pressure.
Awesome.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Right. And then play around with that deep half too, where you can. Here, I'll do a little bit. So. Yeah.
I don't tend to bring my instep up like that. But man,
It's worth getting. It's worth getting.
like this.
Uh-huh.
Isn't that awful?
That's terrible.
Yeah.
And I'm
Yeah, no, I would run it like this.
Which is great in and of itself.
But think
man,
about
that's bad.
This is rough.
Yeah.
Right. So I got that
Right,
shoulder
yeah,
pressure.
switch at the very end.
Yeah. Right. And then
Again.
take the person over.
Yeah, that's it's like right now. That's interesting.
Right. And you're connected. When you're really.
Yeah. That stinks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, ankles. That's it. It makes everything sharper.
Yeah, no, it's totally connected to your core in a different way that's not like.
The instep on their ankle is a detail that I don't use, and that's really remarkable. It puts a funky bend during the D-pad.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Hooking,
So it's
hooking.
lifted.
Yeah.
And then there's all kinds of stuff you can enter into that I'm not. I find myself a little long for that position, but I still will go to it. You know, and just the security of like having that drape.
I tend to just hug it like a fire pole with my knees and my hands, but bringing this little windshield wiper out is really fascinating.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, now let's go to another principle of being able to like use your legs like a whip. So this is useful in a lot of different situations. You know, if you have a Kimura, if he's got like Kimura grip. Yeah. Well, so you can. This is like Sean Williams here. He's all about like threading it up into the armpit. But how are you gonna whip this? How are you gonna escape that elbow down? Sometimes you have to use both legs, right? To whip it. So the last thing that you have, even in a kesa, this is an even better example. Even in a kesa, I can't pull this down, so I have to move this. And that will get me like a few inches. It may not free me immediately, but it is the way. I have to generate, it's a whip. And it travels through the whip. The wave travels through the whip. So you go out, boom, and that's how you get it. Now, the coolest example of this was shown to me by Justin with Osoto. Instead of with Osotogari, if I'm here, you know, you can step and you can you can throw. He said, no, initiate it from this one. Do a little to kick it and initiate that off, you know, my momentum. So it's traveling up my body around to the other side. So you can step and pull and kick, but being able to, you know, initiate everything here. Right? So, in a way, the rule of thumb is like move what's available in open space. And then I can kind of build on that in a sec. But using your legs as a whip, and you can just imagine it traveling through the whip. That's why you got to move what's available, what's free. Yeah.
In the case of the Kesa escape, are you, when that circle is, you know, almost completes, are you using that to elevate and shoot your hips back? Is that
It's not really about even when no just say I'll do it without. It's about being able to have something to pull my shoulder and then my elbow down. Mm-hmm. So it's here.
Okay.
And you may not get there, but it's better than this.
Sure.
You know, this is definitely blocked in. He can't stop that momentum of what's behind him. So whether you do that or you're doing the Kimura escape or whatever it happens to be, that's really important.
Seems like it's an extension of that cut under idea. Only I'm doing it to myself as opposed to in relation to me and my partner.
Absolutely. And then here's one more example. Not quite as dramatic, but the mount. And he goes high mount, and I teach this. I've kind of improved this. I saw Damien Maya. He uses the same thing. Push him up. You use your legs to whip. Maybe not one, maybe not two, maybe three, right? And then go ahead and catch your bounce there, right? Then you get to your elbow, and you can pull them over. And you again, you're cutting under. Let's do it again. Sometimes it works out where you know you don't. Yeah, this is only for high mount because why? Because I have to move what's free. This is not free. I mean, maybe if I can shoulder walk, but you want to push up, out. We're here, and I do it again. It's because I want him to be wide. Then go ahead and keep your legs tight. Then you can scoot back. But sometimes you take them over naturally, you know. It depends. They can't catch it. they're really far extended, then you can get your elbow under you and cut out. So we're cutting under, but we're also using the leg whip and the idea of use what is free. Use what's available. Yeah, go ahead and play around with that. Is that enough?
Yeah.
Oh, try posting your arms in the armpits. And you can do it like that, or you can hold the ski and put it in there. Yeah. And sometimes you can take them over, but sometimes, especially if they're still holding on tight with their legs. Exactly. And then I would say just a small detail would be. Let me use you. Okay, so this all looks good, but try to actually. I see you're here. Try to elevate your hips more so that you are on that small. So that you're up here. You know.
That's way more dramatic.
Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so you're on your shoulders. Beautiful.
That's feels strong.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, when there's resistance and they're tighter to you, that last little bit will help.
Reminds me of the spin out from Aikido.
Feels good. It's hard to stop that turn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This reminds me of another principle that I've been kind of working on.
Uh-huh.
You mentioned it when you were showing it the last time with me, is that you asked me to hold on tighter
Yeah.
because I went for a ride with you. And frequently I'm having a hard time putting into words with my student, but frequently I find people resist the movements of their opponents when they should just go for a ride.
Yeah.
So, you know what I mean? Like, they'll constantly be fighting. Somebody's trying to like get over the mountain and they're pushing real hard on you. And instead of resisting them, which gives them the ability, then they're blocking and moving.
Yes.
You go, maybe it's just the counterpoint to the block and move that I'm thinking of.
Yeah, no-
But you just let their momentum of trying to overcome you move you, and then they never get ahead.
Dude, absolutely, absolutely. And there's kind of a fine line with that. Like, if I could use you, you're on your. So a really common, well, especially back in the day, and they use it in MMA all the time. It's like to escape the mount, you bridge over and give your back. Like, just go ahead and do that. Yeah, and if, obviously, if I'm too tight here. Right. Okay, so you're back again. And a lot of guys will do like 4/5 of the way there, then they come back and reinsert. So bridge all the way over, and then they turn, right? So they know that sweet spot. So, it's good to be in control and controlling them, but for you at your level, it's all about riding that line, so that you know, okay, he's 3/4 of the way, I should adjust my position. So as you go up and over, okay, you're 3/4 of the way, so I switch to an S mount here, because I'm not going to let you get to that totally delicious. Like, I feel that you're savvy enough. You're going to do that. Maybe you've done it once before.
Right.
So, like, knowing how to ride in slow motion, like what the apex is, like, boom, I got that free ride. And now on the way down, I'm going to take advantage of that free ride and transition.
And it's almost like another of those cut under moments there where you're filling in the space. Maybe it's not literally underneath the person who's flat, but
Yeah, absolutely. Because we're up and then we're sinking, which leads perfectly into this other principle, which I feel is important. Corkscrewing down. Go ahead. You're on your back. It's a number one issue, whether it's an arm bar or a knee bar. Go ahead and have your feet up. Arm bar or knee bar. I push that away, and I fall out here, and I go for it, but my hip is too high. Right? That happens all the time. So, being able to corkscrew down and trace that knee, see how far I sink. so that it's there. Being able to ride that. So same thing with the arm lock here. I go knee on belly, and boom, I'm up. I don't want to fall away,
It's too much space.
right? So I'm lifting so I can corkscrew down and insert the hip and then come in the right position in a good relationship to where that elbow is. So I feel like just kind of emphasizing that a little bit for beginning students will help them. And then that corkscrew is also, you know, if you're standing, it's the same thing. With the drape, you can go ahead and grip. Yeah, that's fine. It's the corkscrew down, right? The corkscrew down. That's how those guys are like, boom. That's how they, you know, really root.
I've heard you say or describe a movement as rotating into open space.
Yeah.
And, you know, is this corkscrew just a specific application of that, just sort of going down, or is that rotating into open space like another?
It can be, but then the rotating into open space, here, let's have you on your back, is more of, like if I'm, let's say I'm mount, and I'll do corkscrew arm lock from, so if I'm blocked in a specific direction, like he pushes and he's bouncing me off, I'm blocked from going up anymore. I'm gonna go perpendicular and rotate into open space, which is around this way. So you have to immediately change your vector from here, okay, I'm blocked, or I'm, you know, I can't go up anymore, to 90 degrees, and then you're gonna rotate into open space around that vector, which is now perpendicular to your current line. So once you see it, it's easier, but the words aren't great. But then if he like bridges me off, okay, then I rotate into open space on a perpendicular axis, and then I have options, and it's the same thing. I'm at a perpendicular axis right now from side control. You know, perpendicular axis, and rotate into open space 90 degrees. Well, I mean, now I have to rotate my hip out, but I'm trying to turn in. That's kind of the new axis that I have to be able to rotate into. And there's coming up with some other, but it's basically once you see that, I'm blocked here, I have to go 90 degrees. I can't just go 90 degrees, I have to rotate around that axis, kind of three-dimensionally. You have to be feeling that. And then you start seeing it everywhere. Side control was not like a perfect example, but.
Yeah,
I see it there on the other plane.
Yeah.
Right? When you shrimp, it's the same principle. You're just creating that angle to the ground and to your opponent.
Yeah.
So it's less obvious.
Yeah. Yeah. So maybe try that corkscrew a little bit with each other, because that is sinking the hips is so important. Nice. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. You could go even lower, like really try to scrape your knee. I'm scraping it through until that instep.
On this particular one, I have perhaps a
delicate issue.
Well, just trying to not be gentle on my training partner. Just dragging right across their ground with your
No. You're past it already. You're past it. You're on thigh. Oh no. Yeah. There we are. That's better.
That's pretty tight for me.
Right.
I mean, I'm way. Usually, I feel like mine are pretty tight, but I was way up here. Usually, I'm like maybe there.
It was so tight I had to lift to accomplish it.
Right.
Yeah.
Good.
You do the hot bar from top mount. That was kind of cool.
From top mount or from knee on belly?
I think however you went to the corkscrew.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, just bridging off. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, nice. Nice. Yes. Yes. Yeah, you got that. And it's cool if your other foot is trapped. It's really
Okay.
just about letting that top knee rotate around and having the commitment to like cut it under the shoulder. Because you are falling at that point. You could easily end up a little high. Okay. So let's see what this next. What's all this? Oh, yeah. Move in the opposite direction first. So this is, I see it all the time now. I see it all the time. And the breakthrough for me was a rubber ball, and they were talking physics. The ball bounces and bounces almost as high. It loses a little bit of energy, but not all of it. Retains most of it. So that's what everyone is doing in whatever throw. Kinetic energy building. They're always going here first. They're winding up for the baseball throw. It's never right here. It's always with the swing. And so, it's just, that's the rule, He's like, I want that arm to go the other way. Oh, or in, whatever it happens to be. And then I really started to understand what the Japanese, I would do this because they were doing it, but I didn't really understand that they're building the energy. And some of them, especially for like Soto, they'll go way out so that they can like ride that forward momentum into the horizontal momentum.
I've always been cautioned against doing some of this in the past by you're telegraphing your intentions, but if it's truly done at the opposite end of what you're setting up, then their anticipation of the loading is what's going to help fuel the kuzushi in these circles.
Yeah, all of this stuff is only for practice, and then because it's going to be disguised once you turn them, and you can generate the momentum here into the lift, or you can turn and then use some momentum, but. Let's see. There's another. Even this one where you break it across and they pull back, and then we're into Tayatoshi. It's like it's so clear. You move in the opposite direction, and then just wind up into it. Everything's a wind up.
Okay.
Yeah. Play with any throws or
Sure.
right, anything like that. Yeah, break it off. That's good. It even works with like if you want to do Mr. Harris showed me this. Like for Kotegaishi, like you jam it down. You jam it down and like into their third point, so they want it to come up. And you're jamming it close to them and down. So you get that equal and opposite reaction. Mm-hmm. Here, set it up good, and try to get this more under your center, right? Less extended and more like body weight.
You win with the. Got it.
Yeah. Oh. Good. Yeah. Totally. That's great.
Could this be like one of these? Maybe I have no intention of barring, but I'm sending him that way.
Yes.
Or is that a little bit different?
It's a little different. You're leading the movement, which is totally great. Which is totally great. And you have a threat, but like the building that kinetic energy by going down into it, I think is really, really powerful.
Makes me think of
The double there.
I'm dragging down, you pull your arm out, and now you give me the single.
Yes, beautiful.
Double and single set.
Yeah, exactly. That's good. That's good. Awesome. Do you guys have any just general technical questions? Positions or?
Embarrassingly, not particularly. At the moment.
Yeah. No. It's all good. Just I outlined some of those as like, I'm really seeing those principles. Let me reflect.
Sure.
Let me double check here. Move in the opposite direction first. Oh, let me give you another example of moving the opposite direction first.
I do have a technical
Yeah,
question.
yeah.
But we'll do this.
Yeah, move in the opposite direction first, or push them, please. I do this all the time. I'm always whipping the guy in this direction so that he can come and then I can sweep, so that I can do that move, and so it's just always just the opposite. And you can even, the other day we're battling over an arm, and you just catch it right here. Just catch it right here, and then you can push away. Yeah. So if you're having difficulty sweeping, just think, I gotta push. Yeah. Exactly. Okay.
If you find yourself pretty deep in a leg drag position where that person's got the leg pinned and across the shoulder, if Brett's on his back, maybe I get something where I'm getting this push, getting in where it's all the way down.
Yeah.
This is a position where I find myself where I almost have to wait for the person to make their move before I try and escape. But what I don't like waiting for is ultimately that I wind up sort of behind it.
For sure.
Position there. And I don't know if there's a thing you look at to apply one of these principles, sneaking under or sort of going with the flow as they pull that across.
He's got you pinned. So actually, I just talked to this guy Hurricane, and we were talking about kind of a similar thing. So you get that, you get the leg drag, and I have to get back on this shoulder. I have to free that. This is pinned. I'm not going to be able to disrupt you. I have to come back up on the shoulder. Maybe I can start to feed. Maybe I can start to regard. But moving the shoulder away and then tripoding on here at least will start to give you options so they don't fully have you pinned.
So that's an open space to roll into. That
Yeah, rotating into an open space. So
Okay.
you're not doing the full,
Okay.
rotating 90 degrees, but you could move into open space and then rotate 90 degrees if you do a grandy. Well, I'm here, and then I'm.
Yes, sir.
So, that's one option. That's currently. Henner actually crushed me from that position. He got a leg drag and he was on, and I was trying to feed to like a leg lock where I could roll under, but I couldn't. I was trapped, and I really need to move that elbow and that shoulder.
Okay.
And tripod on there. I think that's the move.
That's great. I'm going to apply that.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
That
Thanks,
was
guys.
wonderful. That was I appreciate the look at the principles, and look forward to seeing this so we can go through and work on applying.
My pleasure.
All right.
Thanks.
Thank you so much.